Hello again, everyone. So, in that last lesson, explained basically what is Flexbox. So now it's time to code in this lesson. So, you want to get to it? Good. And that way I'll explain as we go along some of the other features in the code. So, our HTML and CSS files are ready in Atom. So, let's prepare some boxes. I'm creating a div called Flex Container. So, I put a few boxes in it, and we'll make the class names box 1, box 2, box 3. I'll write 1, 2, 3 in them. So now let's shape our boxes. So we'll go to our CSS file. So here, I'll first give border properties for the container. So I'll make it 300 pixels width and 300 pixels height. As the values for our boxes and the background color. Okay, so if we look at what we've done, we will see that our boxes are lined up and down. Now, if we use the display flex feature for the container, our boxes will come in side by side. Look at that. So the inline flex feature can also be used here. And we can compare the differences between the two features, to block and inline block. For now, I'll prefer to use flex. So now we can start applying the features that we talked about in previous lesson gradually. So here I want to show you the flex direction feature for the container. So this feature can take 4 different values. So our first feature is row. Now when we do this, there's no change because this is the feature used by default. And here the flex items are sorted from left to right. So let's have a look. So when we enlarge and shrink the screen, our box automatically grows and shrinks. Now our second feature is row reverse. As we can see here, the boxes are lined up from right to left. Box 1, then 2, then 3 on the far right. Boxes are ordered from top to bottom with a column feature, and sorting from bottom to top with column reverse. Now let's go back to the row property and talk about items properties. We can show items in the order that we want to by placing an order feature into our boxes. For example, we'll get our second box first, then the third box, then the first box. We achieve the ranking that we wanted. So see, we can easily sort the items in whatever order we want. All right, so now let's get into this flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis features. All right, so that'll make the distinction a little bit clearer. So first, let's use this flex grow feature. So I'll set flex grow 1 in our first box. So I didn't set a value for the other boxes, right? So when we look at our box 1, it filled the whole area. So when we give flex grow a value to an element, we'll say grow as usable space. So to get a little bit deeper with the flex grow value, I'll set 1 for 1 box and 2 box, then 2 for 3 box. We have a total of 3 elements here. First box has a flex grow of 1. Second box has a flex grow of 1. And the third box has a flex grow of 2. So the total number of flex grow units will be 4. The available space in the flex container is then going to be divided by 4, and that means it'll be distributed accordingly, all right? Cool. So, let's talk about the flex shrink feature. Flex shrink, flex grow, basically they're the same. However, it's related to the content of the flex shrink element. So an element with a flex shrink value of 0 will not shrink even as our page gets smaller. So this is only true if there is no flex grow value on this element. If there is a flex grow value, then the element won't shrink any smaller than its content. So here, when we give the flex shrink value to our first box, there won't be any change. So now let's talk about flex basis, which is a very important feature here. So for this, I want to make some changes to the code. So I will sort the boxes up and down so that we can better understand the changes by going into the HTML file. I'm also starting to edit our CSS file. So here we'll erase the features that we put in earlier and determine the background color and margin value of the boxes. Okay, so our boxes are ready now. So let's specify 100% value with flex basis. And looking at the width of our boxes, they completely cover the screen. Although the screen gets bigger and smaller, the boxes are always 100%, right? So now I'll change the flex basis value to 40% in our first box. As we can see, our first box now covers 40%. So let's see what happens if we give the flex grow value to this box. So again, it covers the entire screen because we said that you can use the existing space with this feature. So now let's give our box 3 a flex basis value of 60%. And then let's give the value of flex shrink. No changes were made because there is no factor to shrink our box side by side. So now I want to show you the flex feature where we will use 3 of these features at the same time. I will write flex for the third box and make the values 0, 1, and auto. Here, the first value is for flex grow, the second value is for flex shrink, and the last value is for flex basis. And what do we see here? Our third box has returned to its original shape because these values are the default values of CSS. That's enough for this lesson. I do believe we're going to continue with these flex features in our next lesson.